Hey, it's me, Max. Welcome to Stitch of Fate, a Vampire the Masquerade V5 podcast. Since we'll be portraying vampires who have left their mortal lives behind, expect there are going to be bad things that deal with difficult themes and content meant for an adult audience. This content may include, but is not limited to, body horror, murder, gore, extreme emotional situations, and graphic images. Remember, don't hold those actions against the players, just the character. Take care of yourself, and take a break if you need it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to some more Vampire the Masquerade 5th Edition podcast, Stitch of Fate. As always, I am your storyteller, Mike Martin, joined by my four players, Josh, Chelsea, Dave, and Mark. God, I can't do it, man. I'm
Just
sorry.
call me Bob, man. Even my mother calls me Bob.
I was about to say, most people call me Dot. It's okay.
Chelsea's a little bit, I kind of, in my head, you're like Chelsea Dot back and forth. Josh is Josh. I don't call you Gaming FTL.
But you're definitely
and Mark is
all
Mark.
the time.
No one should call me that.
Yeah, and Mark.
Mark. You're definitely
Mark
Bub all the time.
No weird
Bub
internet
works.
name for that one.
Arguably, Mark is the easiest, but I keep on almost saying Mark instead of Max.
That's fair.
Fair enough. Well, we're going to be picking back up, so we're just we'll set the scene here as we rejoin our coterie at the end of a rather eventful night for one of them. So the sounds that we hear are the very progressive swelling of the club music of Vera's club as we find ourselves outside in one of the back alleys as brick buildings pass by Sean's left and right. A rat goes scurrying off under a bunch of trash cans and you can hear a can get knocked over and roll. Before eventually, on your left, Sean, there's the entrance to the club. As you take a deep breath, maybe reflexively, you look down at yourself and realize the task Vera gave you to find a suit was not accomplished. As you double check the time on your phone before you stash it in one of your inside pockets, you realize there's also not a lot of time left in the night before meeting up with the coterie again. You're also tired. You've been staying up days and nights for some time now.
I feel like he's a little more alert than he used to be in the evening.
For right now,
but
you've got a little
he's
bit of
feeling
excitement running through you.
tired. Sean's gonna take the address of the place he just came to. I just type it in notes on his phone, and then
It's almost, as you kind of think about it, you realize that the building was only 2 buildings away from where the murder scene was.
well, that's not good. Well, these two things are not connected in his head. He hopes really, really hard, and that's what makes the truth. So he leaves the building and goes straight back to the
Into the club?
theater.
Yep.
The club.
And as the door swings open and that muted rhythmic thumping becomes full-on just kind of electronic music and overwashes the entirety of Sean as he shuts the door behind him, we follow him as he makes his way downstairs. The people in the club are at their most fervent right now as the club is going to be shutting down soon. And so the end-of-night festivities are going hard upstairs. But all that fades away as Duke, Max, and Vera have come together recently as their scattered night activities have finished up. And Sean arrives on time, surprisingly. Sean doesn't always show up at the end of a night, even if you've asked him to do something. Vera, you immediately notice he shows back up, and not only has nothing changed, but if you choose to smell, if you choose to try and use those abilities, you can definitely pick up a waft of stink.
Oh, yeah. She will. She wants to know what he's been up to. He's been lying.
Vera
She knows.
strides towards you, just stands a good 6 inches to a foot from you, and just takes a whiff.
Yeah, I know.
Whoa, nice suit. You look great.
Cheers.
Duke shakes his head.
It's designer.
Is it? Well, it looks like trash.
That's probably where I got it from.
Mm-hmm. Yes. See, if I was a horrible Kindred, I'd make you show up in your birthday suit now. But since I can't dare look at you that way for an entire evening, I went out and got you a suit.
Well, I was gonna say your clients might like that, but
They might.
the suit it is. What color is it?
You can go put it on and show us all,
Yeah, sure. Where is it?
Upstairs. In your space.
The camera blurs up to the top. We're at the in the second floor where we see Sean throw open his door room and walk into his room where he sees one of his 3 herd wearing half of the suit, without the shirt, completely pantsless, caught off guard as you enter, and he spins around, a red tie dangling way too low, not even tied, and is there a particular color Vera would have chosen for this suit?
Yes, she chose a dark aubergine, of course, a deep purple.
And he looks around, and as he spins around with a red tie dangling that definitely doesn't match the Aberdeen suit that he's currently wearing, it's completely open. He has no shirt and no pants on, and he spins and he looks surprised. And then when he recognizes it's you, his eyes shrink a little bit. He's like, "Purple thing, purple suit."
Yeah. Yeah, who do you reckon that's for?
He looks to himself and then looks up back at you, and he just kind of shrugs. I thought maybe you'd like walking in on me dressed well.
You look like a twat. So
I would prefer the
take
word
it off.
twink.
No. We don't use that word around here. Not while I'm in the room.
His shoulders slack, and because it's just too big for him, the coat actually sinks over by his shoulders, and it catches just on the elbows of his arms. And then he realizes it's almost fashionable. And he does like a quick spin before the coat gets slipped off, and he throws it at you before he collapses into a pile of blankets underneath him.
I'm gonna need you to help me with a thing later, so don't go anywhere.
He gives you a raised eyebrow and then smiles.
Yeah, I thought you'd like it.
We watch as Sean hardly puts on the new suit. Finely tailored, fits you well. And you might even say, yeah, it's more money. The suit is worth more than anything you have in this room combined.
Oh, and she pinned a note to it, no doubt. No doubt there's a handwritten note from Vera.
Well, tell me what the note said, because the note might not be there right now.
That's probably true. It was probably just a quaint note, like pinned to the pocket square of this Armani suit that just said, "Make us proud, Vera."
Ugh.
So you don't get that note. Instead, as you finish putting the suit on and it's buttoned and you turn around, you look yourself in a mirror that's kind of half leaning off to the side and cracked at the bottom. He actually kind of pulls himself up off the blankets. He throws on a pair of shorts and he's like, the boss, she wrote you a little love note. And he walks over and he actually pulls out a finely rolled joint. And he just pops it into his mouth and he goes, "I forget what it said." And then he lights it up and just takes a huge hit before he hands it over to you. As you pluck it from his fingers, you can see the handwriting being burned away.
You know, sometimes these things get lost in translation. And he just burns down the rest of it.
Yeah, you just take the longest and just go, and he smiles and he just holds out his hand for you to put the remnants of it in. He just will go and throw it away as you leave.
I give it back to him, and then
downstairs
like
you go. Vera, after about 30 friggin' minutes, here he is.
Sean, gracing us with your presence. You look dashing.
Well, it's all thanks to you.
Yeah, you're gonna look great when you rob the First National Bank of Gotham. Batman and Robin won't know what hit him.
I have considered dyeing my hair green many times, so don't joke about that.
Is there a joke here I'm not getting? That is an Armani suit. That's a 3-figure.
And I'm sure I know what that means. So, Max, this is great. This is like the first thing you've said that I have understood.
Yeah, we live in a society.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we do.
Max just sort of shakes his head. He's drinking some blood out of a bag with a straw.
Duke, don't you think Sean looks dashing?
He strikes me as more of someone who looks better in mauve.
You're all hopeless.
That doesn't sound like a real color. You made that up.
Nope.
He might actually be helpless.
With the night winding down then, my curiosity actually lays on Sean. Does Sean bring up or discuss any of the recent goings-on that happened about an hour or two ago? As it seems like there's even that quiet and as Max is finishes up his blood bag and is getting ready to leave, and Vera realizes the sun is coming and she's going to need to lay down. Sean, I feel like, maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, of course, but Sean strikes me as the person to lay the worst news or uncomfortable news when there's no time for them to get mad about it.
Oh, absolutely. He's got a quick question, like, to preface this.
Sure, please.
Just to wear out the clock.
Yeah, as you guys are beginning to separate and it's clear you're about to leave for the evening, Sean steps up.
Vera, do you got some time? I have questions.
Okay.
Obviously, thanks for the suit. But this is going to sound weird. What's a kiss to a kindred?
That terminology within kindred society, perhaps for those who are listening and are unfamiliar, carries a lot of weight. It's a term used for multiple different things. A kiss refers to the bite a vampire gives a mortal when they feed. There's also disciplines that can amplify a kiss. So it depends on what he's talking about.
Sean, did you get a kiss tonight?
I saw a cute girl.
I suspect since you came back without a suit, you were busy doing something else. What was it?
Unrelated.
To the kiss?
Mostly.
Okay, kid. Tick-tock, all right? We're burning time here.
Oh, yeah. You have to go to sleep. Yeah, fair enough. There was this really cute girl, and she was acting like she knew me, and then I followed her, and then we ended up in an apartment, but there was no door. It was like teleporting, and then she kissed me, and then she ran away. She couldn't talk. Anyway, I was wondering what a kiss meant.
I'm going to need you to be 75% less cryptic here, Sean.
I think he's on drugs.
Well, that's
I was
for
on
certain.
drugs.
Vera closes the gap once again and gets into Sean's personal space, and she takes her very long fingernails, which are literally a couple inches, and she kind of grabs Sean's face with them like pinchers. And she gets very, very close, and she says, Sean, I grow tired this evening, and tomorrow is an important day.
Yeah.
About that kiss. A kiss can mean a lot to a kindred, but she literally kissed you.
Yeah, and she could disappear like Max, I think. So...
You didn't happen to use your snazzy technology to get a picture, now did you?
Of her? No, I'm not supposed to do that.
Oh, now he listens.
Sean, tomorrow we will discuss this more. If you ruin the suit between now and sundown, I will strap you to the ceiling naked as a jaybird.
Okay.
And
Yep.
I pat his face a little bit before I go to bed. I don't have time to deal with his kisses.
The
Night,
cold,
night.
stark clap of your palm upon his cheek before you brush by him, leaving Sean just standing there with Max and Duke before him as well.
Yeah, so long. I'm going to bed. Tell me about this later.
You never kissed anyone?
Yeah, sure I kissed somebody. But what do you mean? Like a kiss or a kiss?
Like a kiss?
Like just a kiss, a regular kiss?
Like lips with lips.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't help, but two lips.
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, not recently, okay? Not recently.
Back in your day, though, I bet.
Yeah, well, I'll say this. FDR was the president, all right?
Does Sean know who that is?
No, not even the
And
slightest.
was a
no.
time ago.
There's just that dead look on Sean's face of unrecognition as Max aggressively and frustratingly pushes by him and heads to bed, and as Duke...
Sean, we can speak further about this. Our rooms are across from each other anyway, if you'd like to sit down.
I don't imagine there's much that you could tell me.
No, that's...
Okay.
I know quite a bit more than you're probably aware of.
You know more about kissing than me. Sure.
Let's go, Sean.
And you head upstairs. Does Duke head to bed for the evening?
No, Duke will head to his room where it's... Remember, his room is like it's a cot behind a desk. It's sort of like a large scale executive desk where there's very like a minimal amount, but everything has a place. Everything is a home.
As we watch Duke slide into his room, and in the background we watch Sean, unfocused, slide into his room with the door shut. We follow Duke into his. And as he said, it's a very clinical, sterile, plain-looking room, with the exception of, as we mentioned last time, some ballerina slippers. But as Duke enters the room this time, off in the corner, in the deep, darkest recesses where no light actually reaches, it is even darker than normal. It eats and crawls down the walls like a thick liquid, completely casting the walls an unseeable shadow, and at the very bottom, you can see a single ballet slipper that dangles unnaturally off the side of a shelf. It doesn't move. It should fall with the 45-degree angle it's at, but there it lingers. Gently wafting are the ribbons at the front that are to be tied. But it does not move, and this is not unfamiliar to Duke either.
Would you like to have a seat?
No, You've got places to be. I'll stand.
I don't. Please sit down. Just show me that you're relaxed enough and trust me.
Sure.
Sean steps into the room, and as he steps in, the ballet slipper flies from the shelf. Can I get a Dex athletics check from you, please, Sean?
Okay.
With one success, you ever so barely are able to move out of the way as you catch it last second as it comes from the darkness, and it whizzes by your face on a collision course for your nose. But it just quietly thuds with the wall behind you before it slides down and hits the ground.
Oh, they like you.
Duke, what the hell do you think you're doing throwing shoes at me? Who throws a shoe?
I didn't throw the shoes.
Will people stop doing magic at me tonight?
Well, I didn't do that either. Sean, you haven't seen mysterious figures inside of this place?
No.
Oh. Well, Sean, let me give you a small history lesson, if that's okay with you.
I'm pretty sure it's going to happen whether I'm here or not, so let's hear it.
As Duke makes that offer, do we watch as Sean gets once again visibly uncomfortable and tense?
Yes.
Do you sit down?
He sits down. He tenses up a little bit.
Across from you is this desk where there is what looks to be like a yellow pad of paper that flips down from the top, very classic vintage style. It's lined with red lines and there's like green lines going down the side. There is a single aluminum pen that seems to be incredibly dated. Most of it is wore away. There seems to be spots in it that it looks as if he is squeezed too tightly at parts. And the flange that hangs on like pockets or wherever you might cup it is bent multiple times through. History. You know what this place used to be?
Theater, right?
Something of the sort, yes. This was a home to dancers. And I only had the questions to discover myself when I found that I happened to gain some new roommates. These dancers. You wonder why Vera chose this place at all.
Cheap?
It's a home, Sean. It's her home. Well, she hasn't told me. I do believe that this was the place of potentially her embracing. Have you seen the way that she moves with grace and poise?
I guess she's very graceful, good at moving.
I had this brought to my attention just from watching. I watch people a lot. It helps me understand exactly how and why they do the things that they do. It also prevents me from falling into any traps. That's important to note, which I believe that you fall victim to your own frequently enough. I say that because this place happens to be home to more than just the otherworldly creatures that is us. You believe in ghosts, Sean?
Of course.
Well, this place is haunted. I see them. We do not converse, but they allow me to watch them as they practice their art. They're like my spirit wives.
And this is where you learn your kissing.
No, this is just where they changed. This was their place of practice. This studio was where the ballerinas would alter their gear, place their makeup, and prepare to don themselves upon the stage, to perform something truly beautiful. But here they're stuck. That shoe that was thrown at you, that wasn't me. That was them. And they're reaching out. Sometimes they like to contact. Never clear enough for me to understand, but they realize that, and they still dance. It's like a music box in here, Sean. It's quiet, discerning for some, but for me it's home. I allow them to come and go as they please. I'm sure I could find ways to exercise their existence. I do have many friends that are Tremere, but I find that to be a bit complicated. History, Sean. I worry about you, the history that you have and the history that you'll make. The others also worry. It's come to their attention that you're sloppy, and I want to help you, Sean.
What kind of help?
How can I help you? Where do you struggle? Be honest.
When I'm around... It's difficult for me to exert the authority that I know that I should have when everyone has age and rank, and it feels like this pressure.
Well, it is. We're in a pot boiler, Sean. Consistently waiting for someone to come in and press their thumb down just a little further. And typically those are the ones with age, with rank. You're not wrong to feel that way, but it is something that you can unseat upon yourself. Begin accepting as such and see how they treat you. And when you change, and you will, you won't remain this forever. Certainly you'll see that there are things more that you could become. I don't see the weakness that is a thin blood, but I can see much more in the man that is Sean Best.
Why would I want to change? I've got a pretty good deal going on, and you're all here, you're very helpful, and...
You don't mean that, Sean.
Well,
You tolerate us at best.
I admit I fucked up. I didn't get a suit. Vera got a suit. It's because she wants me to be in a suit, but at least I have a suit that I need. And I don't want to be like you.
I don't need you to be like me. I don't need anyone to be like me.
Any of you.
Well, you're stuck.
You walk into a room full of body parts and you're like, oh, let's play football with this. You take so much money from... I haven't even seen that kind of stacks of money before I met you lot.
Let me ask you something, Sean. When did you first start doing drugs?
That's a good question. 14?
And what did you start with?
Just a bit of weed.
Some would say, in my time, in my era, they would say that was a bit of a gateway.
No, the heroin was the gateway.
Right, well, why did you move to heroin?
Everyone else was doing it. I needed to forget things.
That's clever. But couldn't you get that from marijuana?
No.
Just wasn't enough, was it?
No.
Right. That's the point, Sean. Eventually you start playing at a very different ball game. You eventually have to move from amateur to pro, so to speak. In this case, we needed to play up. I can see how the others are willing to treat you like lesser than. Even I find myself falling victim to treating you as lesser than. It has nothing to do with your clan or the fact that you are a half-blood per se, a daywalker as they've called you. In fact, I'm rather envious of that. You get to smoke. You get to enjoy pizza. Tuna salad was wonderful. I can't anymore. But that's neither here nor there. Eventually you will grow tired of the weight, the anchor that hangs at your neck, the way that these kindred drag you down and treat you as if you are an ant or a lesser than. And I don't ever want to see you that way, but I accept that one day you will wish to be treated a little differently.
I've been treated less than for a lot longer than just being a vampire.
So then you accept your fate as such forever then, until the end of time, or your untimely death.
I don't know.
What I'm getting at is eventually you will stand on your feet, and you will stop letting these people berate and demean you. You'll stand for something so that they can stop walking on you as if you're a doormat. We stopped letting people walk on us, Sean. Which is why we are now cold and calloused. Some of us were cold or calloused or even detached before we became kindred. But this is a lesson that you two will learn. You said you've been a kindred now 10 years, yes?
Best part of.
I've been a kindred for around 40 years. I've learned a lot, and I've managed to detach myself even more. And it's not the suit that matters to Vera. It's how you composed yourself and made excuses. She doesn't honestly give a shit about the suit. It doesn't matter. Look at the suit that you're wearing now. Even my human life couldn't afford something so luxurious. Not that I would wear it, it's rather gaudy.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is that I may appear menacing, as I can see the way you glance at me from time to time, and I know that I am less than admired by Maxwell. But I just want to see you thrive, where others see you as less than a rat in a cage, even. Thin blood or not, you've existed this long, where most kindred don't make it past their first 5 years. Congratulations, Sean. It's something worth celebrating.
I'll think about it.
Well, unfortunately, I have to retire. This body does not bode well during the light hours. Go have some pizza for me. Or, tuna salad. That would be lovely.
Sure. Tuna salad.
And as Sean says that, as he stands up from where he was sitting and awkwardly shuffles out of the room, we see Duke face the ballerina slippers again as they very slowly hoist themselves off the ground and disappear into the corner. Duke lies and waits for his rest to come. But the camera heads downward. We rewind time. As Max walks by and is ready to head to get to sleep this night, high heels are heard catching up behind him as Vera steps next to him.
Max.
Yeah, boss. What can I do you for?
I am frustrated. And in my entire Kindred existence, rarely does that happen.
Yeah. What's stuck in your craw?
It's called Sean.
Yeah, listen, don't be too rough on the kid, right? He's pretty green, but he's got to learn the ropes, you know? Give him a chance.
I would like to. My fear is that he has no interest.
Yeah, I gotta admit, he's got a little bit of an attitude problem.
How does one adjust such a thing?
Well, yeah, if you're asking me to slap him around a bit, I'd rather not.
All right, is there another way?
Look, I'll have a word with him, okay? I think he plays dumb a lot of the time. He can't be that much of an idiot. He wouldn't have lasted 10 years if he was.
It's true. I actually fear he is much smarter than he is letting on. It is his lies that bother me.
Okay. All right, I'll have a word, friendly but firm.
I'm glad you can handle this. It seems that my firm hand has done nothing. Until we adjust that attitude, maybe we should follow him.
Okay, I can take care of that.
I don't like the way he talked about this girl.
Just keep in mind he can go out during the daytime, so I'm not going to be able to keep tabs on him 100% of the time.
Of course. But my gut tells me that something is going on. We've been quiet now for months, and out of nowhere we get Thin Blood Primogen and the decapitated body of the prince's ghoul, all at the same time while Sean's getting smooched in some teleportation dream sequence, drugged up out of his mind. I don't believe a bit of it.
Yeah, I don't like it either. I still say that Thin Blood Primogen is trying to pull a fast one. I don't trust him one bit.
I don't either. The good news is I'm smarter than him. We all are.
Whatever
and if he's
you
going
say.
to try... Hey, come now, Max. A little more faith in us than that.
Okay. You call the shots, Vera.
Yes, as always. Well, I guess we should rest.
That uncomfortable silence ender, or sentence ender, perhaps. You go your separate ways, and the camera will actually follow Max for a little bit, as I have a question for Max, specifically. We've seen Max as a very guarded individual, straightforward. He's here to do his job and nothing more. Hell, he even rests in a converted custodian closet of a sort. But I'm curious, Max. There are descendants of your family that do linger. Does Max have any affectations of theirs? Does he have any pictures of theirs? Do you keep track of them in any way? You obviously have to keep track of them in some way. They are your touchstones, of course. But what exactly does Max, or how does Max, keep tabs on his familial touchstones?
He essentially does what he does best, which is observe while unobserved. So he's obviously using his obfuscate to occasionally pop in and keep tabs on them.
So is there a schedule that he keeps to? Is it like a once a month that Max will head out, kind of find out, where they live, and just check in and making sure everything's good?
Yeah, usually about that. He's also very careful not to leave any trace. He does have enemies. One specific enemy that I'm thinking of that he clearly does not want to lead them to the remains of his family. The other thing is, of course, that these are descendants of his sister. So they are moving through the maternal line. So there's less of a direct connection to him.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to hide. So I merely asked because the month is going to be ending soon, so we may see Max in the near future. Make a visit just to keep tabs on that family. And again, in your haven, is there any like physical representation of them? Do you have a picture of them close by, or do you keep that all off the table and keep your haven relatively clean of any personal attachments?
Yeah, the only real physical things that he keeps in his haven, his little, as you mentioned, essentially a converted storage closet, no windows, etc., are the only things that he managed to retrieve from the destruction of his old haven, which is his very, very damaged copies of what would be extremely valuable comic books.
And we'll then watch then as 4:30 in the morning begins to roll into 5 and the sun begins to rise. And all those who need to sleep during the day must sleep, and we need a rouse check for the following evening. Sean, is there anything you're going to be doing blood alchemy-wise in the meanwhile?
Oh, yeah. He's gonna, before he crashes, he's got bags under his eyes. He looks awful. But before he does crash, he's going to beckon that guy over who was messing around with the suit.
Yep. He's awake as you when you come back into the room. He's still kind of smiling.
I've got a new recipe I'd like you to try. And out of a little box in the corner of the room, Sean takes a baggie of white powder and he cuts in what appears to be like a tub, like a little rock of solid, oh god, what's it called? Solid CO2. Can't remember what.
I don't even know.
Dry ice.
Dry ice. That's it. Thank you. He cuts in a rock of dry ice into that, so it like the smoke billows off the edge of this little plate that he's got it on.
The whole while, what the member of your herd is inched super close, and he's very fascinated when you do these things because your drugs are like nothing he's ever tried before. Nothing matches what you're able to provide the three of them. And so he watches with wide eyes.
He lays out a line and holds out a note rolled up for this dude.
He plucks it from your hands eagerly and hunches over the line before...
Lay back. Close your eyes.
Without question, he plops onto a pile of clothes behind him, arms spread out wide, and he just closes his eyes and waits for it to take him.
Then Sean pricks his thumb with a small needle and presses it to this guy's lips and just like wipes off the dot of blood that.
Is it nonchalant, or are you very meticulous about it?
Oh, it's nonchalant.
So we see as he closes his eyes, and we see a large exhale of breath, and Sean waits just maybe a minute or two for the drugs to take hold. He walks over, like you said, nonchalantly, just pricks his finger, and as he walks by, just goes and smears it across his lips.
Yeah. And is going to attempt to prepare an alchemical power of his.
All right, let's see. What one are you doing specifically here?
This one specifically is haze.
Haze, okay.
And if I have time, if you'll let me, I would also like to prepare envelop. I need to do a rouse check for this. 3.
So it is weak and fluky in its particular brand. You do have a willpower, and you could reroll 3.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I will. There we go.
Okay. Works as intended. And what you see is as you kind of smear the blood across his lips, you actually will collapse into a nearby beanbag chair, and you wait. You have to wait for everything to kind of take place. It's a weird science, and it's not specific at all. A lot of how you've learned is simply off of feel and trial and error. But this is one of the ones that you've pretty sure you've figured out. And after some time, you walk over to him as he sleeps. And how exactly do you draw the blood from him to keep for yourself? Do you feed it into yourself?
When I need to use it, I feed from him.
Did everybody rouse check for the following evening?
I didn't.
Okay, so you gain a hunger. What's everybody's hunger at?
3.
Back to 3.
3. Max is going to be at 2 again because he already slurped one down. Would anybody like to hunt before we move on with the evening?
It's just that time for me to start finding my my food source.
You can find a food source, certainly. Do you want to go to, is it your retainer that you go to, or a contact that you go to, or just anybody?
Just whomever I've been working for at the time.
Sounds good. And Max, you're at 2. You have a Slurpee if you want it. Sean?
Yeah, Max will hit his supply of cold coagulated blood.
How many? What's left of your supply?
Well, that's a question. I did pick up recently, though it was there was a bit of a supply problem.
Yeah, he wanted you to check in on somebody for him.
Mm-hmm. And he's going to he'll also prepare some snacks for later. He essentially pours out some blood so it'll form like a little scab cookie that he'll
He also had the Kindred Vitae from Grant that he collected.
He does have the Kindred Vitae. He's going to hold on to that. He's able to feed on it when chilled, so he's gonna keep it on ice.
Sounds good. Sean, do you want to feed?
Yeah, he's going to feed one dot from his herd.
And Vera, what are you at again?
Vera's at 3, but she's going to wait till the end of the night.
Okay.
It'll be a lot easier when people are inebriated, and she's worked her charisma to be able to feed on people, so she's going to wait. But she would send her driver to retrieve Sean and bring him all the way up to the 3rd floor before the night's festivities begin.
As the night's getting going and you all mill about throughout, the club not opening, you have your private security that you hire for these specific events that are always armed with a pistol. They stand 2 up front, 2 up back, and make sure things are as peaceful as possible. Sean, as kind of people scatter, eventually you recognize his face, you don't know his name, works for Vera, a gentle tap at the back of your shoulder. As you spin around, before you even have a chance to say anything, the lady of the club would like to speak with you. Please follow me. And he just turns and begins to walk. Assuming you follow, you're whisked your way up to the 3rd floor. Is music playing throughout the club, Vera, when there are when there's nothing going on right now?
I would say not. Maybe there's a band. I bet we do live music for these kinds of events because it's way classier.
So you see
we would
have
a band setting up.
Yeah, there's no actual music happening, which is a bit of an eerie feeling as this only happens a couple times a year. But you're quickly whisked your way up to the 3rd floor where Vera, dressed how on this particular evening, as it's a particularly special night.
I imagine that Vera is behind one of those like folded dressing panels.
Yeah, like the little screen.
Yeah, the dressing screens. And from behind it, you hear her, thank you, John, as the door will close and he leaves Sean. Sean, have you ever been up here? Do you think Vera's ever... I don't know.
Probably not.
I don't think Vera's ever brought you up to the 3rd floor. I imagine it's exactly what you imagine. And when he's gone, she'll kind of walk from behind, and tonight she's not in a dress. She's in a pantsuit. It's time to do business. But it is made of pure vinyl and black leather, from top to bottom. Big shoulder pads, hair up, massive Carmen Sandiego hat, like over one eye. And she spins around, and you see that she's not zipped in the back. And she says, Sean, zip me, please.
Yes, ma'am. And he walks up and probably fiddles with it for a bit too long because it gets stuck. And then...
unceremoniously, no doubt. When she's done, she turns around and she says, you asked me a personal question yesterday, and I wanted to answer.
Oh, yeah.
I thought maybe it would give you some perspective.
Sure.
I don't like people lying to me, Sean. There's nothing that you can do that I have not seen or done myself. So drop the act. Now, you asked how old I was, and though a lady never reveals her true age, I came here to America in 1941, if that gives you perspective. I was sent here by my parents as the Nazis invaded Russia. I was, too, alone on the streets, by myself, with only a single talent. And I understand you more than you think, Sean. What it means to be walked all over. To be looked down upon. All those things.
Have you been talking to Duke?
Did I need to?
No. If you understand, then you know what the lies do for us.
Oh,
They
don't
keep
I?
us safe.
Yes, but you don't lie to your coterie. Lies within your coterie are just as dangerous.
Well, technically I didn't lie, I just made it certain that you were off to bed. Everything I said was true. I think, depending on what I said.
I think the point I'm trying to make, Sean, is your nervous demeanor is not needed. We may be older, wiser, and have gone through quite a bit more. But, as much as it pains me to say it, you are a kindred. At least halfway there. I have a soft spot for the lower clans, if you haven't noticed.
Well, I am glad that you took me in. You've, more so than Duke and Max, shown me what is possible, but there's something different about you three and the rest of them. You said you were going to tell me the answer to a personal question.
Yes.
What's a kiss to a kindred? What's a kiss to you?
That's 2 questions, Sean.
Okay, fine. Well, you got me there.
A kiss to a kindred is a dangerous thing, no matter what form it takes. When was the last time you were kissed, Sean?
Last week?
You cannot know the true weight of something until you do not have it anymore. I have not been kissed in 60 years, Sean. By
Cannot
choice.
imagine.
Why not? Why can it not be imagined that my existence, by most, is summed up in what? My beauty? My facade? That Vera must, in fact, because of these things, be what? Promiscuous.
In love?
Love. Do you know the last person that told me they loved me?
No.
My sire, before he took my life in the alleyway behind this theater, as it burned behind us. He told me he loved me. I had never met him before, and he had stalked me for months. He did not love me. He loved what I looked like, how I danced. But he did not know me. He wanted so badly to preserve something he thought he loved that he in fact corrupted it. And I have made it my personal, lifelong mission to corrupt everything he wanted to keep pure.
You don't need me to tell you what you look like.
That I do not.
But what you've built here doesn't seem... it's shady, no doubt. I don't see corruption. I see a way up.
How do you think I got here, Sean?
Oh, no doubt. All the little businessmen popped a boner in their tight little pinstripes for you.
Well, that is one way of putting it.
And you took it from them. Because you could.
No, Sean. I did not get where I am because little men in pinstripe suits popped boners. There was a period of time where I would have done anything to be free of my sire. My skills have not always been as a businesswoman. I'm terribly good at getting information, interrogation, and assassination. Though I do not serve that way anymore. It is how I got here. Corrupted from the core.
I appreciate your help. And I will wear the suit.
Thank you. About your kiss, or whatever it was between you and the girl. As you get older, Sean, you'll begin to feel those feelings slip away.
I've had this talk from people.
No, listen. What mattered will stop mattering. And the things that shouldn't matter will. What I'm saying is, in immortality, love does not matter. Because no matter what you love, it will fade, die. Hang on to your humanity, they say. Vera says posh. Love never got me anywhere.
We'll see what I lose along the way.
Now, to business, I have someone I want you to meet tonight, so tighten up your tie and later this evening come find me when you're done killing your lungs or whatever it is you do.
Yeah, you got some Febreze?
I'm sorry. I am in leather and vinyl. No, I do not own Febreze.
Fair enough.
And on that awkward question, as Sean leaves the room, the camera will linger over the balcony looking down to the main floor. As we see Duke and Max walk their way to the center, eventually as Vera and Sean join, and they both all look toward the front door as they begin to unlock. Max quickly ripples away, and as they prepare for their show, we'll end the episode here, and we'll pick up next episode with the art show.
Do Vera a little favor, would you? Break out that Masquerade page in your pocket and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Pod by Night or Stitch of Fate. Make sure to leave us a little 5-star rating and review, would you? And if you don't, well, I guess I'll just have to send Max after you.
Special thank you to Kimberly and Sean Casey for sponsoring this podcast. Stitch of Fate wouldn't be possible without your incredible kindness and support. You sure know how to rouse our blood.